I just want to tell you guys about yesterday. I had went to a local real estate meetup and it was so much fun. But let me tell you about how the whole thing transpired. So first off, I had went to a sub two Pace Morby style real estate meetup in a local town. And I didn't know who I was going to meet there. I just knew that I wanted to go and meet other real estate investors, other people in real estate, from single family to multifamily. You guys know that I do multifamily development. I also like buying businesses that are in the service industry of complementing multifamily. So I went to this meetup and I immediately, got to introduce myself. That was kind of the round table event, is where everybody introduce yourself, tell you what to do. And one of the guys there, he's like, man, you're at the wrong table for what you do. We do mostly single family. So there was a guy there that did resonate with me immediately. He said, I run a meetup in another local town, and I would love for you to come speak at my meetup. Well, it just so happened the date landed on Wednesday, which if you guys follow me at all, we do our live real estate Q&A called the Game Changer Live Q&A every Wednesday at 4:30 Central Time, 5:30 Eastern. Well, that means that this real estate meetup was going to be a conflict with that. So, I called my business partner, Dan Kinder, and I said, hey, can you run our Game Changer Live Q&A? I'm going to go speak at this meetup. And I had spoke with the founder of the meetup, and he had said that he wanted to, me to speak on real estate syndication. What was real estate syndication, how it applies to real estate, and how it can help people buy bigger multifamily units, essentially. So through that, I get there, super exciting. But the most exciting part before I got there was I jumped on the 4:30 live Q&A and Dan was running it. And man, I got to tell you, if you have the ability to partner with great people like I've been blessed to partner with, it's absolutely amazing because I didn't need to be there. Dan completely filled the room with unbelievable value. And people just really resonated with that. You don't have to be the leader of something. And we were able to divide and conquer. And that was really cool. And I felt so good about it. And, I went to this meetup and I think there was probably close to 20, 25 people there, and kind of a little bit intimate setting in the back of a restaurant. Really nice kind of patio area that's enclosed. And it was kind of quiet. So it was just us, talking about real estate and geeking out. And I was their guest speaker. So, man, I talked about my story, my origin story, where I come from, what I did. I had a very similar start to most of the people in that meetup because they do single family. And that's also how I started out, was in single family. And I've slowly moved my way up to what I do now. And so I talked about syndication. I talked about fund models as well, the real estate syndication fund model, which everybody was mind blown. And immediately there was people there that, number one, wanted to partner, wanted to sell me a business, or invest in my fund, which was just absolutely amazing. So I guess I did a pretty decent job. And another cool part is I got to win, while I was there, this book, which they had several books that they give away on like a raffle ticket or like a door prize. And it was kind of funny. Just, man, the way things work out is just so cool, like divine intervention, and just the way things work out is just absolutely amazing. And that book, this one that was left on the table, was next to like The Richest Man in Babylon, which I've already read, and another book that I had read that was, Think and Grow Rich. I had read those books. Another one of the books was Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. I'd already read that book. So when I walked up there and I said, hey, man, I get to win something while I'm here, this book was on the table. I'm excited to read this. This is the Millionaire Mind by Thomas J. Stanley, New York Times bestseller, and also bestseller The Millionaire Next Door. So I'm excited to read that. But what I wanted to do was get on here and say, man, I don't think that I can have a bad day when I get text messages like this. And I hope that you're doing good things in the world, and you also are getting text messages like this. So I had woke up a little bit late. I got home late at the real estate meetup. Had some travel time. So I got home late after I'd spoke with my wife and winded down. It was a late night and I got up a little early, but I woke up to this. And good morning, Eddie. Thanks again for coming last night. It got my mind working. I needed that. If I can do anything to help you along your way, your journey, I'm a phone call away. That was absolutely amazing. I mean, that's why I wanted to do it, was just to give value and hopefully, change people's mindset to think bigger. And then the other one, immediately, my next text message was from a student that's in our Indestructible Wealth program. And in the Indestructible Wealth program, we're teaching people to buy multifamily real estate, small, 10, 20, 30 units, getting started, using owner financing, using all the different ways to buy real estate, and not single family homes, but multifamily apartment buildings, and using creative finance. So he's one of our coaching students. Unfortunately, he's a truck driver, and he was driving that day. He was in the middle of work week and couldn't attend our call. And so he said this, and we record every single call, and we make sure that our community, our Indestructible Wealth community, has all the recordings, all the resources, and everything. So, full preface on that call, we actually, this week, we went through an exercise of building your own spreadsheet. And that spreadsheet was really every single metric of real estate and multifamily, from the purchase price to the capital you raise, all your sources and uses. So the closing amount, everything that has to do with contingency on construction, CapEx, all these things are a full amount of monies that's set in a bucket. And then the amount of money you're raising, and then what's it look like to physically get that a return. So what we did, we took every one of those numbers and we put them all together. And when we put them all together, we wanted our students to be able to build their own spreadsheet to understand what it takes to achieve the big enough number to give their investors a 2x return. And it was a super cool exercise. I mean, it was so cool because we physically had our students, I don't like to call them students, but our clients, physically building that spreadsheet on their desktop. And they were learning the hotkey formulas like the equal sign, plus, minus, these cells. And they were physically building out the formulas to make their sheet make sense. They could put any property into it they wanted. So it was a really cool exercise, and I think it's one they'll remember. So with that, they built the spreadsheet, and at the end of it, we wanted them to understand, what does it physically mean to mature a property to a 2x multiple, meaning that if an investor put in $1 million of capital, they will return with $2 million in all total. That means the cash flow throughout the ownership period plus the proceeds from the sale. And we wanted them to understand that commercial real estate, especially 5 doors and more, is evaluated off the net operating income of the property. And that net operating income is evaluated, or a value taken from the market cap rate. So you take your net operating income and you divide that by the market cap rate. And that's how you come up with the sale price of a property, or what a property is worth. And, we can't manipulate the cap rate. That's made up by the people selling properties and the market, properties trading out. That's how your market cap rate is established. So you can't manipulate that. You definitely can't get it wrong. So we want to make sure that our clients knew exactly how to utilize that number. And then another thing is, we backed ourselves into that number by reverse engineering it. And by reverse engineering that number, we wanted them to understand, look, if you're saying you're going to sell it, you bought this property for $5 million and you need to sell it for $8 million, and what does that look like? And, that particular property expenses were 50%. This was kind of a model property, one we had underwrote earlier in the week. And that property needed to make $600,000 net operating income. So that meant that we needed to have the gross income of the property at $1.2 million. And our OPEX, which is our expenses, were at 50% of that, 45% expenses and 5% vacancy. And, that gave us a $600,000 net operating income divided by the cap rate. It gave us about an $8.7 million sale price upon exit. We paid $5 million for it. We put in all improvements, all use of proceeds like the closing, contingency, capital reserves, all that was in place. So total capital in and total capital out we were able to give our investors a 2x return. And we helped them build that spreadsheet from start to finish. So that's what this particular client is texting me about. And this was another one right after the first text message came. This is when I'm getting up, getting in my morning routine here. Again, I was a little late. I think I posted it was like 6:52. What's going on in the 6:52 a.m. club? So if you follow me on Facebook, go check that out and comment what you were doing at 6:52 in the morning. I was getting filled up by these text messages because this came about 7:12. And hey, Eddie, missed the Tuesday IWC call. Watching the replay now. Fire call, by the way. I'll update you the next time I miss. Contingency equals capital reserves. So, a little bit confused there because he wasn't on that call. So you really had to pay attention to the details. But what he's asking is, what's the difference between contingency and capital reserves? And, contingency and capital reserves are two separate buckets. Contingency to me is a contingency of monies that's held aside for the CapEx. So like the renovations of the property. So that's what that's about. And then capital reserves are the capital that we put in place that, let's say we just buy the property, worst case scenario, and all accounts don't transfer, or we've got some time between when rents come due and when our payment is due. So we got some expenses there, but the capital or the monies from the rent hasn't been put in our account yet. So we need to have that capital reserve there to be able to pay our payment for at least 3 months, as we like to have. So operational monies to be able to pay the property's expenses for 3 months in case something goes wrong. Let's say the worst case scenario, we buy this 40 or 50 unit property and the boiler goes out and it's the middle of winter time. We got to replace a $30,000 boiler. Well, if we were running with no CapEx monies in place, that would be a huge problem. So, I answered that the contingency is for the CapEx repairs of the property, and capital reserves is for the loan, the requirements, and the emergency repairs. And, he said that makes sense. Well, here's the very next text that came through. Hey, boss, thanks for speaking tonight. And I don't know why it came through the next day, but hey, boss, thanks for speaking tonight. This is name. Feel free to reach out and schedule a time out of any time of the day. That was amazing, man. I can't tell you how good I felt to be able to go and speak in that meetup and give people value to the point that they reached out. And even the people that put the event on, they came up to me after and they said, Eddie, you did an absolute amazing job, because there was many people that came up to us and said, man, that speaker that you brought here tonight, man, he absolutely taught us some things and made us think different. So just wanted to come on here and give that update. And hey, look, if you're looking to get into real estate and, watch my YouTube channel, I have guests on there all the time. And also, we have an indestructible wealth community where we teach people exactly the step-by-step processes necessary. And we give people 2x returns in that coaching program as well, because, right now it's a special at $10,000. You can come into our program and look, you're going to close your first property in a year or less. And from that $10,000 you invested in yourself, that mentorship is going to allow you to gain the education, gain the roadmap, every step-by-step process that you're going to need to close a multifamily property. Even if you know nothing about real estate, you're going to learn every step, and you're going to go out here and close a property. You're going to get your own partners. You're going to put everything together. You're going to close a property without using your own money, which is another cool part, because that's the way I do it. I always use other people's money. That's the hints of syndication and funds, syndication funds. And you're going to get, if you bought $1 million property and you did a 2% acquisition fee, which is totally normal. It's totally in the lines of what we get for acquisition fees when we close a property. And you're going to get $20,000 back on a $1 million acquisition. You put $10,000 to yourself, you invested in yourself, and you were able to get a 2x multiple on just the money that you put into it. So that's the cool part about real estate, is we always talk about 2x returns. I'll put a video on the backside of this about Dan talking about the 2x returns. It was from our meeting from the other night, which was absolutely amazing. And again, I hope that you guys got value from even this video, and you can come and join us on our live Q&A. It's free every single week. I would love for you guys to come and enjoy it and learn from us. That's all we do is we just teach and we go out and buy real estate ourselves. We're active. We're between funds. We're getting ready to launch a hybrid private equity fund where that fund has the ability to buy multifamily cash flowing real estate, also distressed real estate that is having some issues. Maybe we get it from the bank and we get to renovate that property and bring it back up to a nice community, move people back in it, and give it a new life. And then we're buying businesses that complement the vertical of multifamily real estate, which means we're buying the MEPs of the world, the mechanical, electrical, the plumbing companies, and HVAC, and sign companies, anybody that has it's a contractor that works on multifamily properties to keep it up. Those are the businesses we're looking to buy, to add to the fund for cash flow, along with the massive depreciation that multifamily real estate gives. I'll catch you on the next video, and thank you so much for joining me here today. And hey, if this resonates with you, either like, subscribe, or leave a comment below. I'd love to reach out to you. I'd love to hear from you. And if you want to book a 15-minute call with me, go to EddieAustinBEX.com, and you can see all the podcasts, all my social media. And there's a place on there that you can actually schedule a call with Eddie, and you can book a 15-minute call with me. And I'd love to hear about your journey. If there's some way I can help you, I would love to. But look, just go to EddieAustinBEX.com or EddieAustinBEX on all social media platforms. DM me. Watch the video on Real Estate Meetup, and I know where you're coming from, and we'll see you on the next episode. See ya.
And what most people don't, I've been a planner, and I've always been a numbers guy and a financial guy, but a super important concept that everybody needs to keep in mind is the multifamily tax, doubling up your money. It's a hopper that you have to keep stuffing money into. This is not a one and done. Okay, here's $100,000. I'll stuff it in there and I got to wait for 5 years. No, you have to find a way. And this is not easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but you have to find a way to get into a deal, stuff money into the hopper, either through a limited partner cash, literally putting capital in, or through GP experience. You have to find a way to put money in the hopper every single year, preferably 2 a year. And it's not easy the first 4 years. I know, because you have to wait. It's like buying a house. You buy it, you fix it up. You don't get any money until what? Until you sell it. But if you keep stuffing money into the hopper, the 2X hopper, it goes through the machine. It's going to spit out a 2X or better. My first property is up for sale right now, my very first multifamily. If it sells for anywhere close, $500,000 range of what we think it will be, it's going to be a 43% per year return. We shoot for 25%. You can't handpick those grand slams or those home runs, but you can stuff it in the hopper, and some of them are going to be okay, and some of them are just going to be stellar, and they'll change your life.